that the food in our local supermarkets is safe. But recently, we heard something that made us question that. So we went to investigate, and we took our hidden cameras with us. What we found may leave you wondering whether the meat, poultry, and fish you buy is as fresh as you think. Are some of America's biggest supermarket chains being less than honest about the freshness of the food you buy? Here's John Larson with a Dateline hidden camera investigation.
America's grocery stores are among the most abundant food markets in the world.
We cut fresh meat here every day. Every day fresh.
We rely on stores to tell us how fresh their meat, poultry, and fish are, trusting those tiny dates, computer programmed and carefully stamped on every package, the sell-by dates. What do you think the date means?
It's supposed to mean sell by. It's only fresh, too.
They have to sell it by that day.
That's right. And if it's not out of the store, then it should definitely be tossed or something.
Well, actually, according to the USDA, we can rely on those dates to tell us when to freeze meat or throw it away. 3 to 5 days after the date runs out for beef and pork, 1 or 2 days for chicken.
You get somebody sick, you know, the date's wrong and the meat might be going bad.
So you think you know how fresh meat is, but do you? What if what appears to be a promise is really a lie?
Everybody behind the counter knows this?
Pretty much. I don't know of anyone who don't know it.
What began as a tip turned into a 5-month Dateline hidden camera investigation into a practice with little or no regulation. We investigated stores owned by 7 of the largest grocery chains in the nation, which operate more than 7,000 stores in nearly every state, to find out whether grocery stores are telling the truth about the meat they sell. Our investigation began with this man, Jim Morrison, a former bond salesman who tried to blow the whistle on what he called a massive consumer fraud.
I just don't like big companies that rip off the little guy. I just got a problem with that.
The ripoff, he says, has to do with those tiny numbers, the sell-by dates. Most meat and fish come into stores in bulk, where employees cut and package it. And because the clock is always ticking, they say they generally give it around 3 days to sell before throwing it away. But Morrison says during trips to grocery stores near Jupiter, Florida 7 years ago,
July 4th.
he realized the stores were secretly changing the sell-by dates on packages of meat to lengthen their shelf life.
Extended it to July 11th.
His discovery became a crusade, some might say an obsession. For 2 years, he videotaped and documented evidence, investigating several chains, but focusing especially on stores owned by Winn-Dixie, which operates more than 1,000 stores in 14 southern states.
Every store that I visited had this scam going on.
Morrison quickly became a thorn in Winn-Dixie's side, even demanding the company hire him to inspect their stores. But not only did Winn-Dixie deny Morrison's allegations, the company accused him of extortion and fabricating the evidence.
So they're now saying he hasn't detected a problem, he is the problem.
They said that I was smuggling tampered and spoiled products and placed them on the shelves of these companies.
Had you?
Not once.
But in December of 1997, Winn-Dixie helped convince the government that Morrison was concocting a scheme to defraud Winn-Dixie. The FBI raided his home, taking his notes and tapes.
There never should have been one FBI agent anywhere near my house, period.
No charges were ever filed against Jim Morrison, and the FBI closed the case. But it all made us wonder, what about the things he had claimed? Evidence of a scam, selling out-of-date meat to the public. Was it happening at Winn-Dixie or any other stores? We decided to set out on our own, to go undercover, to find out for ourselves. First, we needed a way to track large amounts of meat out for sale, and it had to be foolproof. We came up with a way to secretly mark the packages of meat, a small metal bar with these tiny numbers. We wore the bar like a splint on our finger and marked the bottom of the trays by imprinting, pressing numbers into the styrofoam without breaking the plastic wrap. For example, if a steak has a sell-by date of May 7th, like this one, we'd impress a small 07 on the tray. If anyone changed the date on the label but kept the original tray, we'd know it. And then we would shop just like you do. Except sometimes, to explain why we were spending so much time in the meat department, we'd suggest we were thinking of starting a catering business, and we'd ask questions.
Okay, so do you ever change the date, like once it's on there?
No, we can't. That's, oh, no. We got cameras watching us doing things like that.
Really?
And this computer runs straight up to the main office. So
Wow.
something like that, you can get fired.
Cameras watching him. What he didn't know was that Dateline's hidden cameras were rolling too, as we investigated stores across the country to see who was telling the truth.
Do you change the date?
Oh, no. Never change the date.
The all-new 2003 Lincoln Navigator. There are those who travel, and those who travel well.
So when I was a kid, I thought that I had superpowers. Check this out. I still do. I can glow.
Revlon Skin Lights, a different kind of makeup with light-reflecting crystals that naturally brighten skin. Skin Lights, it's you, illuminated.
My superpower? Revlon.
Find unbeatable savings at Ace this Saturday through Monday. Hurry, the Ace Memorial Weekend sale ends Monday.
The romance, the beauty, the world of Ralph Lauren. Polo.com.
Me and my dog, well, I can call him Max. I know I'm a pal of the facts. I tell him when to eat and when to speak. Me and my dog.
Nothing ever comes between them, thanks to Sentinel. Sentinel has the most flea, heartworm, and intestinal parasite protection available in a pill. And there's no pesticide residue. Dogs must be tested for heartworm prior to use. Digestive, neurological, and skin side effects may occur.
Me and my dog.
Sentinel, for dogs with kids.
Coming up, Dateline goes undercover into supermarkets to find out whether stores tell the truth about the meat they sell.
Do you change the date?
Oh, no. Never change the date.
But our own secret coding device showed the dates were changed.
It's about making money.
Does it also risk making you sick?
Cooking kills bacteria.
But does it always? We had some of the redated food tested by an expert.
Should anybody be eating that fish?
There's no circumstance that you can cook out 230 million bacteria.
As our hidden camera investigation, The Dating Game, a Dateline special, continues.
You wait right here, Mark, and I'll get Diane. Diane! Diane!
Cheese it. Get your own box.
Jim Furr has agreed to help us demonstrate the power of OxyClean on tough stains, like grape juice. Now, let's see what OxyClean can do. There you are. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, you probably wouldn't believe it.
It doesn't take much for the sun to dry out and damage your skin. Fortunately, Lubriderm Daily UV moisturizes and protects your skin from the sun with SPF 15, leaving you with healthy-looking skin. Later, Gator.
Tried Rolaids lately? It's fruity, smooth, with a taste test-proof Tums can't beat. And extra-strength Rolaids quickly neutralizes 21% more acid than Tums EX. Rolaids spells fast relief with a taste that can't be beat.
2 thumbs up for the best comedy of the year, the best movie of the year. See why Time, Newsweek, People, USA Today, The Wall Street Journal, everybody is raving about A Boy. Rated PG-13, now playing.
The fridge is broken.
Appliances on sale. Get 0% financing until October 2002, plus free delivery. Only at Sears. Where else?
Now is the best time to join America Online.
The AOL is very easy to use.
Anyone can do it.
You've got mail. I love AOL email.
Click and send. Everybody I know is on AOL.
I do feel good knowing that AOL has parental controls.
And if you want high-speed service, America Online has it for you. AOL makes broadband easy.
Being on the phone and at AOL all at the same time.
With the broadband, everything is so much faster.
It's the best thing we ever did.
Welcome. AOL keeps getting better and better.
America Online, so easy to use, no wonder it's #1. Call 1-800-4ONLINE.
Memorial Day, Steven Spielberg and Stephen E. Ambrose present a gripping war story told by the men who were there. The Price for Peace with Tom Brokaw, Monday, 8/7 Central on NBC.
The Dating Game. Tonight's Dateline special continues.
We went undercover, checking Winn-Dixie stores in Dallas and Atlanta.
Hello. Hey, how are y'all?
We looked like any other shopper, but we were busy leaving our small imprints behind, marks we could check later. As our hidden cameras rolled in Atlanta, a Winn-Dixie employee who worked behind the meat counter told us they never changed the sell-by date.
Do you ever change the date, or does the date always stay the same?
No, the date stays the same.
Sell-by dates are not required by law. They're more of a good-faith promise of freshness. And Winn-Dixie has a strict policy on sell-by dates. It will not tolerate the intentional selling of merchandise after the original sell-by date. So, is the store always living up to its promise? After a few days of marking packages in Atlanta, we came back to check for our marks and found this.
Beef, ribeye, steak.
A steak dated February 3rd. But when we turned it over, there was our imprint, our January 30 mark still visible. Someone had added 4 more days and put it back out for sale.
1, 2, 3, 4.
In Dallas, we found more of the same.
It's ours.
Look at this steak. Here's our mark showing it was dated the 11th. Its new sell-by date? Someone added 4 more days, giving it till the 15th. And without our marks, we would have never known what employees were telling us wasn't true. For example, we knew these ribs went out of date on the 6th, yesterday.
I marked it down because they're going to go out of date tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow they go out of date.
Yeah, the 8th.
Just to make sure someone wasn't reusing styrofoam trays, we also compared our pictures of the meat. Even though they had new labels, we could double-check to see that the fat, the marbling, matched. But just how dangerous is meat that isn't fresh? Can it make you sick? Well, it turns out that one simple question is both up for debate and a touchy subject.
The dates do not have anything to do with safety.
Jill Hollingsworth, a spokesperson for the Food Marketing Institute, a trade association for grocery stores, says meat, poultry, and fish are safe, regardless of their sell-by dates, as long as they're cooked properly.
Cooking products thoroughly to the required temperatures will destroy all the harmful bacteria that could make a person sick.
They're playing Russian roulette.
Ron Schnitzer is a microbiologist who some grocery stores themselves rely on to test their food. He says although expired sell-by dates do not mean the meat is bad, bacteria is growing, sometimes harmful bacteria, like Salmonella, Listeria, and Staph aureus, and that is a risky game.
Cooking will definitely remove the harmful bacteria, the pathogens, if they're there in low numbers. If they're there in high numbers, what guarantee do we have that we're actually going to get rid of them?
Cooking will kill the harmful bacteria that can cause illness.
Can you guarantee that?
The cooking temperatures that are
Can you guarantee that?
The cooking temperatures that are recommended for consumers are tested and designed and recommended by the federal government because they were specifically established as the temperatures that kill all of the harmful bacteria.
Is that a yes?
Cooking kills bacteria.
But scientists tell us some bacteria give off toxins that are resistant to cooking, poisons that can make you sick. Although no one knows how many illnesses are attributable to meat, the Centers for Disease Control estimates 5,000 Americans die every year from food poisoning from all food sources. and 76 million of us get sick. But because it can take days for a foodborne illness to show up, tracking it back to its source is almost impossible.
How do you remember what you ate 48 hours ago, or even worse, 72 hours ago?
So we asked the microbiologist to run a test for us. We had seen something odd about some hams at a Winn-Dixie store in Dallas. All the Winn-Dixie labels were placed in exactly the same place, turned exactly the same way. The sell-by date was in March, but we checked underneath. The original sell-by date was January 31st. Someone had added 38 days.
Okay.
So we bought one, packed it in dry ice, rushed it overnight to Schnitzer's laboratory, and asked him to measure the amount of bacteria on it.
When you get above 3 million, you've got a lot of bacteria.
And this was what?
19 million.
6 times the level at which meat is spoiling and risk increasing, according to Schnitzer. Not exactly the ham we were promised back in the store.
Are they fresh?
Yeah, we just had an abundance of them, and with the low salt, not a lot of people like the low salt, but actually it's a good ham.
So even though it's got too much bacteria, if you go home and cook that ham, are you going to get sick?
For the bulk of the population, no. There's probably very little likelihood you're going to get ill. But are you going to feed this to a young individual? Are you going to feed this to an immunocompromised individual? They could become ill.
And we did more testing. At another store in Dallas, we tracked this fish out for sale for 6 days. Its bacterial count, 230 million.
Under any circumstances, should anybody be eating that fish?
There is no circumstance that you can cook out 230 million bacteria. I'm not willing to take the risk that one pathogen isn't going to survive.
Altogether at Winn-Dixie, not including the fish, this is what we found. 27 examples of redated meat in 6 out of the 7 stores we checked. So were some employees breaking company rules, risking their jobs? If so, why? This man thinks he knows.
I moved to Tallahassee, and that's the first job I applied for.
In 1997, Robert Becker was only 22 years old when he was hired as a meat cutter for Winn-Dixie. In the 6 months he worked there, Becker says workers in his department routinely added days to expiring packages of meat by changing the sell-by dates.
If it's not about selling it by this date, then what's it about?
It's about making money.
Becker says the order to change sell-by dates came from the manager of his department, who Becker says told him got bonuses based on how profitable the meat department was.
He would come in and say, we're not doing something right because my bonuses are crap, and we need to make changes in here. And his changes were to sell everything possible.
Becker says he even saw his boss rooting through the bone barrel, the garbage pail for the meat department, looking for pieces he could grind into hamburger.
He would take it out, trim it off, weigh it, say, this is what you're throwing away, money.
And Dateline learned that Robert Becker was not alone.
It was common knowledge what took place.
In Alabama, another former Winn-Dixie meat cutter, who asked not to be identified, told us that while he was taught the right way to handle meat in Winn-Dixie's training school, the tune quickly changed when he reported to work.
Who's teaching you how to rewrap, redate, essentially fool the public?
Everybody learns new coming in. So somebody essentially is going to teach you, be that a market manager or another experienced meat cutter.
Was this just one store where you noticed this?
No, I worked in 4 stores for this chain.
So all 4 market managers were essentially asking you to rewrap, redate, and change the dates.
Sure, there's nothing different from market to market.
Perhaps more disturbing, he told us that Dateline was likely missing most of the rewrapped, out-of-date meat because the meat usually comes back out for sale, not in the same tray so we could track it, but in different trays, in different forms.
I could take a roast and cut it into steaks, make more money, and you'd never know.
And when aging chicken started to smell bad, he says they'd just take the skins off and charge more.
We take them to the back, skin them, then place them in a tray. Then sure, you're going to get more per pound for it.
Grocery stores operate on razor-thin profit margins. Last year, Winn-Dixie reported making less than 0.5% profit. And there's added pressure in the meat and fish departments where products are perishable and timing is everything.
Did you ever tell the public, listen, this is what we're doing here, we're actually rewrapping, redating?
No.
I mean, it's almost like the industry's dirty little secret.
Yep.
Is it the industry's dirty little secret? Do other supermarket chains do the same thing? We decided to expand our investigation to include 6 more of the largest supermarket chains in the nation, including one store that did not want you to see what we'd found.
Trying this?
Yeah, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to sell us your food? No. Not with you guys doing undercover work.
Tomorrow on NBC Nightly News, the family and coping with fear. Why now, months after the attacks, is the anxiety growing? How do you stop your children from being afraid? What you need to know, steps you can take to help your family face this new threat to our security. Terrorism coming home. In depth and only on NBC Nightly News tomorrow.
Can you believe it? A freeze warning in the middle of May. Which parts of the Carolinas will be affected?
Are terrorists plotting more attacks for New York City? The new warning involving some of our nation's most prized landmarks. Then, this Piedmont woman was arrested for animal cruelty. Our exclusive story tonight. And a facelift without the surgery. That's what a new technique promises. But how does it compare to the real thing? What a surgeon says about the results. Tonight at 11 on WXII News Channel 12.
When you wake up with an empty stomach, fill it fast with Bojangles' delicious sausage and egg biscuit for only 99 cents. And pick up your Paramount's Carowinds buy one, get one free discount coupons. Good this weekend only.
Now, more ways that PiedmontChannel.com can help you.
Hi, I'm Marianne Milano, your online guide. Here to show you ways the PiedmontChannel.com can help you in 2002. Time to get in shape. Our health section helps you count your calories and track your progress. Explore the area. Our travel section uncovers unforgettable local destinations. It's the help you need.
The PiedmontChannel.com. News, weather, and the help you need.
Wouldn't it be nice if you had all the answers? Will I need money before payday? Then all of life's little mysteries would be solved. Where am I going to find money before payday? National Cash Advance. With 2 IDs, your latest pay stub, and most recent bank statement, you'll get the money you need fast, easy, and hassle-free. Call 1-877-4NCA-CASH. National Cash Advance, because you just never know. So, will I need a supermodel?
Sure, you could keep reading movie reviews, or you could preview movies online with Roadrunner High-Speed Online. It's the hottest tunes, cool games for kids, the latest flicks and shopping picks instantly. On Roadrunner's broadband network, you never have to wait. Just call the number on your screen or log on to the website now and get our 30-day money-back guarantee. So ask for Roadrunner and rediscover family fun.
We now return to the dating game.
So far, we had found redating of fresh products at almost every Winn-Dixie store we had checked. But were other stores across the nation doing the same thing? We expanded our investigation to include 6 more of the biggest, most recognizable names in the grocery business: Kroger, Publix, A&P, Safeway, Albertsons, and Pathmark, which together run thousands of stores in nearly every state. We would investigate a number of stores owned by each company and spend about a week in each store. How would they do? First stop, Albertsons, with 1,700 stores in cities like Los Angeles, Albuquerque, and Salt Lake City. We chose 6 stores in Dallas and Denver, including this upscale Denver store, complete with its own dry cleaning, Starbucks, and pet care center. Just like we had at Winn-Dixie, we imprinted the bottom of trays, tracking about 30 packages a day per store. And like Winn-Dixie, Albertsons has a strict policy that prohibits the extension or alteration of any sell-by dates. But it wasn't long before rewraps of meat with expired sell-by dates began showing up at Albertsons, too. The date on these pork chops is March 16th. But look on the side. We found our imprint showing they used to be dated the 13th.
Oh, yeah, I do see it.
We found 16 packages of redated meat in this store alone.
Can I ask you a question?
No. The manager of the meat department was friendly.
I just have a question about dates.
But we wondered, was he completely unaware of what was going on in his own department, or was he telling us something that wasn't true?
So then, do you ever change the dates?
No. It's his policy on expired.
It's on the side.
At another Denver Albertsons, we found an unusually clever way to secretly change dates.
There are 2 labels.
New labels dated the 17th, covering up old dates that said the 15th, placed so carefully we almost missed them.
Do you change the date?
Oh, no. Never change the date.
At another Denver Albertsons, this manager told us he had heard about redating, but he'd never do it.
I know 16 guys that have been fired for that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do it?
Why would they do that? Because we have gross profit numbers that we have to hit out of here, and everybody gets all paranoid. And that's a $3 package, and I'm not going to lose my job for $3.
Yet in his department alone, we found 7 redated packages.
Never mess with dates.
In Dallas, we found more of the same. Expiring sell-by dates with new dates added. Redated lamb and redated chicken, both given 2 more days to sell. Redated beef given 3 extra days. Redated pork given 4. And remember the former meat worker warning us that most redating would be impossible to track because it included replacing old trays? Look at this.
Here.
At one Dallas Albertsons, we imprinted a beef skirt steak in a yellow tray. When we came back the next day, we couldn't find it. But we did find a beef skirt steak in a black tray that was exactly the same weight and price of the steak in the yellow tray. And this steak was dated 5 days later. Was it the same meat? We queued up our pictures before and after, and they matched. It was the same steak. So in all, what did we find at Albertsons? We found rewrapping and redating in all 6 stores we checked. A total of 48 packages. Next, we tried Publix, which owns nearly 700 stores in cities like Miami, Orlando, and Tampa. We visited 8 stores in Atlanta and Columbia, South Carolina. In 4 of the stores, we found no redating at all.
14.
Among the other 4, we found only 8 redated products, like this Cajun catfish given 3 more days to sell. Compared to Winn-Dixie and Albertsons, much less redating at Publix. Next up, Safeway, which owns 1,600 stores in cities like Seattle and Washington, D.C. Safeway's policy on changing the sell-by date specifically prohibits employees from changing the package date. A Safeway meat manager in Denver.
Do you ever change the date, like once it's on there?
No, we can't. That's... Oh, no. We got cameras watching us doing things like that.
Really?
And this computer runs straight up to the main office. So
wow.
Something like that, you can get fired.
But in 1 week, we found 15 packages of redated meat in this manager's department. Almost all was extending the sell-by date by 4 days.
No, it says 18th.
At another Denver Safeway, we had just been there a few days marking packages.
Oh, this was 1 too.
When the store manager stopped us and asked if we were taking pictures of the meat.
Who are you with? What are you doing it for?
Well, actually, we're with NBC News.
We told him we were doing a story about redating meat.
This isn't redated.
Now, you would think a store manager would want to know if someone in his meat department was selling meat past its sell-by date. But all he wanted from us was our cameras and videotape.
Is your camera in the film?
Oh, no, you can't take up property on
You
the...
can't do that.
Then you get out of the store then.
Okay. We have
Are
to.
you buying this?
Yeah, we're going.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going to sell us your food?
No, not with you guys doing undercover work. It's special today.
But we still had our videotapes, which later showed someone had rewrapped and added days to at least 4 pieces of meat. These country-style ribs started off dated the 15th, but here they are redated the 16th. Altogether, this is what we found at Safeway. 21 rewrapped, redated packages in all 3 Safeways we checked. On to 3 more chains. Kroger, the largest chain in the country, with 2,400 stores in cities like Detroit, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati. A&P, with 800 stores in cities like New Orleans, Hartford, Connecticut, and the suburbs of New Jersey. And Pathmark, with 138 stores in cities like Philadelphia and Wilmington, Delaware. Their policies seem clear. Kroger strictly prohibits the redating of any products, including fresh meat and seafood. A&P? Well, here's an A&P meat manager in Maplewood, New Jersey.
Right, so you're not allowed to rewrap or anything like
No, we have to take it out.
And the same for Pathmark, at least according to these Pathmark meat managers.
But you change the date?
No, we leave a date on it.
Change the date?
No.
There, you got to put the same date on it.
And yet we found re-wrapped meat with days added in every single Kroger, A&P, and Pathmark store that we checked. At Kroger in Columbia, South Carolina, we found redated crab cakes, a Kroger date placed right over the Packers date. In all, 26 packages of redated pork, seafood, and beef at 3 out of the 3 Kroger stores we checked. At A&P in New Jersey, we found 5 packages of veal. Our mark showed they were first dated February 26th. The new date? March 5th. They'd all been given an extra 7 days to sell. All added up at A&P, 33 redated pieces of beef, pork, and chicken in 3 out of the 3 A&P stores we checked. At Pathmark, also in New Jersey, we found this top-of-the-line all-natural steak for almost $10 a pound, redated for 2 more days. In all, 38 redated packages of beef, pork, and fish in 3 out of the 3 Pathmark stores we checked. But there was something different we found at Pathmark. A meat worker who, unlike anyone else we talked to, appeared to tell us the truth.
Do they put the same date on it when they...
No, it'd be another date.
Oh, so they rewrap it and they put another date?
Yeah.
But how would you know...
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see.
See, sometimes it could fool anybody, but like I said...
And then we told him how others in his department had said they don't redate.
We spoke to someone who was like, oh, we don't change dates and stuff. And
well,
why would he say that?
That's what they say. I work back here, so you know what I'm saying? Just take my word.
Okay.
Okay. So our grand total? Altogether, we spent 46 days inside stores at 7 grocery store chains, 33 different stores, where we found redating in 28, 201 packages in all, with sell-by dates on fresh meat and fish extended from 1 to 7 days. It was time to ask the meat managers, the men who promised us it never happens in their stores, to explain.
17 pieces of meat in your department are rewrapped and days are added to the expiration date. How is that?
Target your customers with direct mail, and you may actually hear your business growing. Music to your ears. Brought to you by the United States Postal Service.
Try Tresemme Natural Shampoo and Conditioner with 100% natural extracts and now twice the vitamins A, C, and E. Keeps hair strong and healthy. Professional, affordable Tresemme.
Gotta go right now. Gotta go. Gotta go right now. Gotta go.
I have to go now.
If you've always got to go, ask your doctor about Detrol LA. It's been proven effective for overactive bladder.
You need a break? Not right now.
You shouldn't take it if you have stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, abdominal pain, and headache.
And I don't have to go right now.
Detrol LA, when you've always got to go.
It's dishware from Ziploc. Introducing Ziploc tabletops. The first full line of dishware that you can serve. Save. Sizzle. Stack. And send. But not spill. New Ziploc tabletops. It's dishware in a snap.
S.C. Johnson, a family company.
It's time to get to Lens Crafters and get glasses or sunglasses for only $99. Choose from great-looking sunglasses with your prescription or a complete pair of glasses with super scratch-resistant DuraLens for only $99. This is one you can't afford to miss.
Gina? You know, when I was first hired, we didn't have all these fancy integrated systems. Our sales program wasn't even linked with accounting. Warehouse platform in Chicago wasn't linked to anything, not even shipping. Back then, orders took days. Now they just take hours.
Wow, how long have you been working here?
A couple of months now.
When software quickly connects all your business systems, that's 1 degree of separation. That's business with .NET from Microsoft.
It's all tied up. Chris Webber and the Kings bounced back to draw even with the Lakers. Now, vital Game 3 in prime time. Friday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, NBC.
NBC Wednesday, the West Wing season finale. A political assassination.
You make it look like the plane went down.
A new face in the West Wing. And a final confrontation with a stalker.
Something horrible happened.
Then it's the controversial season finale of Law and Order. A neighborhood kills a suspected terrorist.
War on the home front.
Was it vigilante justice or murder?
You lit a fuse you couldn't put out.
The season finales of West Wing and Law and Order, NBC Wednesday.
We had investigated 7 of the largest supermarket chains. We'd been told over and over by meat managers that they'd never redate meat.
Do you ever rewrap stuff?
Rewrap stuff we're not allowed to do.
So why had we found 200 redated packages, new labels hiding old labels, or new sell-by dates when the old ones expired? We needed answers. Remember this meat manager at Albertsons in Denver?
So then do you ever change the dates?
No.
We thought it was time to ask the managers about what we'd found.
Hi, John Larson.
16 redated packages in his department.
We're here to ask you about some rewrapping, redating on meat. I don't know anything about that. Can we ask you some questions about it? You want to see some video on it?
He was less interested than we had hoped. Next, we tried this Denver Safeway manager. Remember him?
Do you ever change the date, like once it's on there?
No, we can't. That's... no.
So we caught up with him before work. We told him someone in his department had redated 15 pieces of meat.
Who did that?
Well, that's what we wanted to ask you about. So we showed him our videotape.
This is a pork chop.
Whose store is this at?
This is your store. As a matter of fact,
we even read him a list.
Beef ribeye 4 days, beef ribs 5 days. All I can do is tell my guys to do this, just like you can tell your crew to do whatever. I mean, when I'm not there,
they can do whatever they want.
They're not supposed to do whatever they want. My name's John Larson. I work for Dateline, NBC. I'm expert.
Next, we tried the meat manager at the AMP in Maplewood, New Jersey. Remember him?
So you're not allowed to rewrap or anything like that?
No, we have to take it out.
So how is it, in about a week, we wind up with 17 examples of where pieces of meat in your department are rewrapped and days are added to the expiration date? How is that?
I can't see it.
He suggested we talk to his boss, the store manager. So we did, asking about the 17 redated pieces of meat that we'd found.
Is this store policy?
No, it's not the policy.
It's not?
It shouldn't be done.
Why is it happening?
It should not be done.
Right?
I don't remember doing that.
In the end, all the meat managers we asked claimed to be totally in the dark.
Do you think that upper management in a lot of these grocery stores has any idea that their meat products are being redated, relabeled?
I don't see how management could possibly not know.
Microbiologist Ron Schnitzer, who has worked closely with grocery stores in the field with managers and employees for 30 years, does not know the managers we spoke with. But he suspects meat managers are not the ones to blame.
Someone had to provide that practice to these market managers. It didn't come from below them.
Based on your experience, do you think management knows about it?
Oh, definitely, for sure.
Rod Priest is a New Jersey State health inspector. He says after 25 years of inspecting meat departments, he's never surprised when a manager feigns ignorance.
So the meat manager will sort of say, well, he wants me, and they'll say, well, he must be doing it, and it's one of these.
Exactly, right. Finger pointing.
So if you were able to get to one of these meat managers, What do you think he'd tell you?
Well, I think that he's under the gun. He has a budget that he has to keep to, and he doesn't need to lose his job. So he has to do what he has to do to make his department look good.
So we went straight to the top, sending letters to executives of all 7 corporations: Winn-Dixie, Kroger, Albertsons, Safeway, A&P, Pathmark, and Publix. We sent them lists detailing exactly what pieces of meat we had found, what they cost, how much they weighed, in which of their stores we found them, and on what days. We offered to show them some of our videotape if they would agree to an interview with us. All 7 declined, instead sending one-page replies including statements like these. Kroger, the allegations raised by Dateline are very troubling. The company has taken immediate steps to address this issue. Safeway, we take seriously any suggestion that our product dating policy may have been violated and have undertaken our own investigation. Albertsons, the allegations brought to our attention by NBC Dateline, if true, would violate our policies. We are taking these allegations very seriously. Winn-Dixie, we will not tolerate the intentional selling of merchandise after the original sell-by date. A&P, our policy requires the removal from sale of fresh meat, poultry, and seafood products upon the expiration of the original sell-by dates. Publix, an extended date is against our policy. Only Pathmark offered a different explanation. Remember, Pathmark meat workers had told us they never changed the date.
Can they change the date?
No. You have to put the same date on it.
But after reviewing Dateline's detailed lists, Pathmark told us they do change dates, that Pathmark has a dual dating policy, but promised all store-cut meat is removed from sale within 72 hours. It's a bit complicated, but Pathmark says if the meat doesn't sell, they re-inspect it and redate it. How are you supposed to know if the meat you're buying has been redated? Pathmark admits you can't. But Dateline learned something else, that Pathmark uses secret codes. A tiny 1 in the lower corner of the label means it's the first time the meat has been given a sell-by date. Other marks, like letters or these 2s, mean the meat has been redated, and that it may secretly be 2 days older than other packages with the same sell-by date. Now, if you're confused by all of this, the double dates and the secret codes, don't feel bad, because apparently, so are Pathmark's meat cutters. When we learned about the secret coding system, we went back and checked the packages, which we'd kept in a freezer. Remember, they'd all been redated. Almost all the packages were marked with 1s, as if they'd never been redated. In other words, Pathmark meat workers got their secret code wrong at least 36 times. Pathmark says it's re-examining its policies, but it's sure its meat is safe. All 7 companies we'd investigated couldn't explain why we had found so many redated packages of meat in violation of their own policies. Could anyone explain? One organization did agree to an interview with us, although it would be more difficult than we thought. Remember Dr. Jill Hollingsworth, who represents the Food Marketing Institute, the trade association representing all the stores we'd investigated. She agreed to sit down to an interview, but only if we agreed to some conditions. We couldn't ask her about any specific products or grocery stores, couldn't show her any documents or videotapes, and no matter how many questions we had, our interview would end after 30 minutes. So we told her about our investigation, 200 examples of supermarkets breaking their own rules.
How do you think that is? Why is that happening?
The dating of product is voluntary. Stores can legally, according to the 1972 Department of Agriculture law, rewrap and redate meat.
But we weren't asking about the law. We wanted to know why stores were saying one thing and doing another. So we tried again.
Do you have any idea why so much redated meat would be out there?
Redating meat is allowed by the law according to the 1972 laws of the Department of Agriculture, and it's a voluntary practice, putting dates on meat.
We tried 2 more times.
How do you think it's happening that we found so much?
I think that rewrapping and redating of product is done in stores on a voluntary basis and according to the law.
We asked again, and finally got a different answer.
Let's say a steak and they can sell it for 4 days. They may put that product out there, but date it only for 2 days. That way, after 2 days, if it hasn't sold, they check that product, and if it meets their quality standard, they rewrap it, they'll date it again for the remaining 2 days, but still, it never goes beyond the 4-day. After that, they'll throw it away.
Dated again? But all the stores, except Pathmark, had been insisting they never do that. And it didn't explain what we'd found.
Doctor, what we found is that it often goes beyond that 4-day. We found it goes another 4 days, another 7 days. When they rewrap it, they're not putting the same date on it, they're adding days. What do you think of that?
Don't answer that, Jill.
And that's when a senior vice president, sitting off camera, decided to cut in.
How can you not answer that?
That you're getting into specifics of research that you collected, and we have an agreement.
You can't answer questions about our research?
An agreement. She can tell you about industry practices, and that's what she's told you.
I'm asking her about industry practices. I'm not asking her about specific stores, specific pieces of meat. I'm asking, why the heck have we found 200 examples of redated meat?
You have 20 minutes left.
Do you have any idea?
Ask the question again, please. I'm sorry.
I mean, could it be rogue employees? Could it be an accident?
Redating meat is a voluntary practice. Putting any date on meat is a voluntary practice.
A voluntary practice. Dr. Hollingsworth thought it was so important that in our brief interview, she repeated it 22 times. And she's right. In the United States, dating meat is a voluntary practice. And in most places, redating is not against the law. Stores make their own policies and police themselves. And that, critics say, is exactly the problem.
Right now, it's an industry that's out of control.
Well, Barry, looks like you've solved the mystery of my curveball, but do you have any idea what's in those mystery meat nuggets? Not a clue. No one does. Try these, Barry. KFC popcorn chicken. All white breast meat, lightly breaded, crunchy, juicy.
I think the Colonel hit a home run.
KFC popcorn chicken is back all summer. Hurry in and try an individual size for only $1.99 or a family size for only $6.99.
And as for that mystery meat nugget, it's... There's fast food, and then there's KFC.
This Saturn SL1 is a great-looking car.
Yeah, it's only $199 due, $199 a month to lease it.
I bet the ladies are gonna love me in this thing, right?
Not necessarily, okay? People overestimate how much a woman cares about a man's car. It's all about what you got going on in there. And in there.
Just thought I was coming in here to get a car, you know?
Got a little lesson in life, didn't you?
Thank you.
The Saturn Spring Sales Event. Call for lease details.
Lose the bad stuff. Keep the good stuff. Ooh, clean, soft.
Now Nivea brings you SkinBalance Cleansers. The new line of cleansers with the innovative SkinBalance system. To selectively target dirt and impurities without harming the natural balance that keeps your skin healthy. Fresh, radiant. They're the first line of cleansers that work this way.
Wow!
And they're only from Nivea. New SkinBalance Cleansers.
Funny thing happens when you laugh. Your whole mouth shows. Teeth, gums, breath. But Aquafresh keeps it all protected with 3 toothpastes in one. Strong teeth all day long. Healthy gums. And clean, fresh breath. Plus a cool, confident feeling that lets you let loose. Today's Aquafresh, the whole mouth paste.
Later on an all-new Tonight Show, just when you thought you knew everything about Hugh Grant.
Very, very keen on sticking apple peel up my nostrils.
I think you should be lying down on the couch.
Plus Celine Dion. And Jay explores the secrets of erotic dreams.
You're a sicko, sir. You know.
Stay up for Jay with Hugh Grant and Celine Dion tonight. And on Conan, a shocking surprise.
We're primarily an educational show now.
Learn all about Eddie Griffin and all about Juliette Lewis.
Aren't you surprised? Show some surprise.
Tonight.
Tomorrow, the most anticipated event.
I was here with the man who fathered my son.
Leads to a major revelation. Soon you'll find out who's the daddy.
Oh, my God.
Days of our lives.
Coming up tomorrow on Today, in anticipation of West Wing's big season finale, Katie will have a rare interview with creator and executive producer Aaron Sorkin. And since we're in a Hollywood frame of mind, we'll have a special screening of Anne's favorite movie, So all that and more tomorrow on Today.
Coming up on Dateline Friday, two brothers, one in prison for murder, the other in a kind of prison of his own making.
It's eating me up inside.
He says he knows his brother wasn't involved in the shooting because he was. So why won't he say that in court?
Why didn't you go down to the precinct and just tell somebody, you got the wrong guy?
I didn't trust the system.
Now he has another chance to tell the truth. But will he? And next, just who is making sure the meat you buy at the supermarket is fresh? Is anyone?
It's self-regulated. It's inherently fraught with danger.
When the dating game continues after this brief message.
Next, can you believe it? A freeze warning for parts of the Carolinas tonight.
A new terror warning involving famous New York City landmarks. And a facelift without surgery. Did the results compare to the real thing? What a surgeon says.
Wonderful. Wow. Love potato salad.
You really outdid yourself.
Very nice. Try my macaroni salad. Fresh from ladies.
Irresistible. Hellman's at its best.
Pasta Hellman's amazing.
Want proof Pine Sol's a better bargain than Lysol? Watch. Pine Sol cleans with just a quarter cup. But with this lemon Lysol, you need not a quarter cup, not a half cup, but a whole cup. Prove it to yourself. Choose the cleaning power of Pine Sol.
The fridge is broken.
Appliances on sale. Get 0% financing until October 2002, plus free delivery. Only at Sears. Where else?
Take out, remote controls, speed dial. My new motto, make it easy. Finally, lip color made easy. New Revlon Lip Glide. Full lipstick color, full gloss shine in one. Now that's easy. New Revlon Lip Glide. All color, all shine, all you. Be unforgettable.
Every day, Texas wakes up to billions of allergens. Introducing Clarinex. Clarinex provides receptor protection to help block histamine. Get 24-hour non-drowsy relief for any allergy, anywhere, anytime. Side effects are similar to sugar pill, including sore throat, dry mouth, and fatigue. Wherever you are, whatever your allergy, talk to your doctor about new Clarinex.
And now the conclusion to the dating game.
There's no federal law prohibiting supermarkets from secretly changing their own sell-by dates on meat and fish. So who's looking out for you? We wanted to talk to the federal government, the USDA, about sell-by dates, food safety, and what we had learned. 200 packages, apparently in violation of the company's own rules. But the USDA declined an on-camera interview. It turns out it's up to individual states to check whether supermarkets are redating meat without telling their customers. New Jersey Health Inspector Rod Priest says he first discovered redated meat in a store back in 1987.
So you caught him?
We caught him.
And you wrote him up?
Well, unfortunately, because of the laws in the state of New Jersey, we couldn't write them up.
Priest says he found laws in New Jersey against redating milk, but not meat.
We warned them that this was not in the consumer's best interest, and that's all we could basically do.
If we were to hand you the evidence and say, listen, here's all the products that we found, they're rewrapping it, they're redating it, give it all to you, you'd say thank you, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing we can do without a standardized code. Yes, that's correct.
New Jersey is not alone. Dateline talked to regulators in every state and found 34 states have no laws whatsoever against stores rewrapping and changing their sell-by dates. The rest have some regulations, including Colorado, Texas, and Georgia, 3 states we visited. Which made us wonder, How many times over the years had any of those states, where we had found 103 violations in about a month, enforced their own laws? Their best estimate, not once.
Right now, it's an industry that's out of control. It's self-monitored and it's self-regulated. It's inherently fraught with danger.
For the past year, New York State Senator Carl Kruger has been pushing a bill that would make it against the law to redate fresh meat. He says that's something the grocery stores in New York, at least publicly, say is already against their own policy.
It sounds pretty much like a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. My bill is about a half a page long.
Yet Kruger says his bill has stalled, the victim, he believes, of a quiet campaign by forces he can't see.
Good lobbying is that you never see the guy that's doing the lobbying.
Well, yeah, lobbying never happens in the lobby.
Absolutely not.
I thought we were home free.
And he's not the only one having trouble getting laws passed. 4 years ago, former state representative Suzanne Jacobs tried a similar bill in Florida. She says in no time flat, it went from a sure thing to dead meat.
Do you know exactly who was responsible for squashing your bill?
Of course I do.
Which stores?
The big ones, Publix, Winn-Dixie, Albertsons, and the Florida Retail Federation.
A federation representing the major grocery store chains in Florida. The federation tells us it didn't like the bill, but has no recollection of lobbying against it.
We shouldn't be allowing the industry to basically drive the engine. We're consumers, we should be driving the engine.
Critics say a sell-by date should be about two things, being safe and telling the truth. Customers always thought it was.
Do you trust that date?
I go by it, yes.
You have to. You don't really have a choice.
But now we know that sometimes what appears to be a promise to America, sell-by, those two tiny words on every package you buy, is no promise at all.
The federal government says the best way to protect your family is to cook meat to an internal temperature of at least 160 degrees, chicken to 180 degrees, and fish should be cooked until it's flaky. You can find additional information about how to prepare meat safely, plus find out if your state has a law governing the redating of meat by going to our website. The address is dateline.msnbc.com.
That's all for this edition of Dateline Tuesday. We'll see you again for Dateline Friday, starting at a special time, 8, 7 Central. Now, stay tuned for your local news. I'm Jane Pauley. For all of us at NBC News, good night.
Later on The Tonight Show, Jay's finding out all about a boy, Hugh Grant, plus tunes from Celine Dion. Your local news is next.